Hello, I'm Kaleb Nation, and I've kept a secret from you and almost everyone else I know for almost 6 years, and now I want to tell it to you because I think it's important just in case you're anything like me. My life has been stranger than I think I'm able to realize because I've lived through it, so it all seems normal until I tell a story that, to me, is only mildly interesting, but to other people is quite bizarre. Not many people know that I grew up on a goat farm in Texas, and I'm not sure how many people actually believe me when I tell them, especially now that I'm living in Los Angeles, where there are far fewer goats. Like a lot of people, I've always had big dreams for what I wanted to be when I grew up, and my biggest dream as a teenager was to become a published author. So when I was 14, I had an idea for a book, and I started writing it, and then I just kept writing it for 5 or 6 years. Of course, since we were on a farm, my writing time had to work around the goat's schedule, which looks something like 6 a.m., wake up, eat. 6:02 a.m., yell, and repeat until the sun goes down. So every morning, around 5 a.m., before they woke up, I'd crawl out of bed and start typing out notes for my weird book ideas. Then I'd milk the goats and start school, since we were homeschooled, and feed the chickens and the cows and the pigs and the ducks and the goats again, and try to squeeze in as much more writing time as I could in the evenings before I had to go to bed. And even then, I'd usually be hiding under my bed sheets with my Palm Pilot and tapping out more of my book letter by letter. Just like Shakespeare did. There wasn't any promise that at the end of all that writing I'd even reach what I wanted, but the dream of being a published author kept me going and writing and rewriting hundreds of chapters and millions of words over and over. Maybe writing was an escape. I was homeschooled, and we lived 15 minutes down a dirt road with a barbed wire fence surrounding our place, so we didn't really have much interaction with the outside world. So I spent my time writing a story about an alternate universe where magic is real, but it's illegal, and this kid, with an unusual name, who was homeschooled and didn't have much interaction with the outside world because there was a gigantic wall built around the place he lived to keep the gnomes out. You write what you know. Then I got a book deal, and another one, and then they translated it. Now I'm bragging. When you spend a third of your life dreaming of doing something big, you start to look at your chances of accomplishing it a bit more realistically. So even whenever I got the call, it was still such a huge surprise to me that I scribbled this in big letters in my notebook. I wasn't even sure how to react to the thought of me being an author in real life and dreams coming true all of a sudden. So I signed the deal, packed my bags, and I moved from Texas to Los Angeles, California, because there are no goats here. Except in my nightmares. My experience was better than most first-time authors because schools and bookstores loved the story of a teenager who wrote a book, and they all wanted me to come and tell my story to all the kids and hopefully inspire them into seeing that, hey, if you start writing a book whenever you're a teenager, you too can be an author. So I did this huge national book tour and everything was awesome. Plus I was getting paid to do something that I already loved. I even bought a fancy BMW because I was all cool in LA now, and I'd made it, right? I was 21, I reached my dream, I had a career I loved, and once you've gotten everything you've dreamed of, what dreams do you have left to reach for? So I stopped reaching. I put all my eggs into this one basket. I'm going to be an author, like I've always dreamed, and dreams are all you need, right? Wrong. Investments crashed. Promises broken. Contracts in writing not worth so much if they have bigger lawyers than you. My dream lasted about 2 years before it all hit me. I'd signed 4 book deals, I'd grown what back then was a huge following online, thanks to you, and suddenly I found myself with only $23 in my bank account. Everything else was just gone. So I sold a bunch of my stuff, I dropped the lease on my LA apartment because I couldn't afford the rent anymore, and I ran to Arizona. My new fancy BMW had to sit parked outside melting in the Arizona heat because I couldn't even afford to fix the battery. One day I was so short on cash and my credit cards were so maxed out that I had to choose between feeding myself and feeding my chinchilla. And pets can't skip meals just because their owner is suddenly poor, so you could probably guess which of us ate that day. Where did I go wrong? I'd worked hard, I dreamed big, and yet somehow I'd ended up worse than before. And my worst fear was, what if someone finds out? Here I was, going on my second book tour as an inspirational speaker, talking in front of thousands of kids and teens about how they should follow their dreams, while my dreams had turned into nightmares about electric company goons coming to collect past due payment in the form of my fingers, which I kind of need to write those book things. If those kids found out that chasing my dreams led to my failure, would that make them afraid to chase theirs? So I kept it all a secret, and I lived this double life of signing more books than actual paychecks. I was rags to riches to rags again. That's not how the story's supposed to go. And truthfully, that mindset is where the problem started. Life isn't a storybook while you're living it. Stories have beginnings and middles and ends. So no matter where you are in life, you're always somewhere in the middle part. No one cares about all the work and the time and the dreaming that someone does to become successful. They only care about the end result, the part that they see. The skyscraper that was finished after countless delays, or the book that you wrote after finishing 43 drafts, or the person that you marry after dating dozens of others. My biggest mistake was reaching my goals, but then not setting new ones. I thought my dreams would keep me alive, and that if I gave in and got another job, I'd be giving up on everything that I'd worked for since I was a teenager. But when I looked at the number 23 in my bank account, I knew that something wasn't right. I could keep holding on to my dreams like a raft and hope that something would save me, or I could jump off and start swimming. I was so desperate that I answered an ad on Craigslist for a cheap website designer, and thankfully, I got it. My new boss liked what I did, so he set me up with a full-time job that got all my bills paid and my car fixed and food back in my apartment for me and my chinchilla. Then later, that same boss convinced me to try something new that I hadn't even thought of before, by taking all the stuff that I'd learned from YouTube and writing and designing and putting all that together as an online marketing consultant for companies that needed it. That business led to bigger business, which led to me moving back to Los Angeles, which led to me going to VidCon, which led to me meeting my wife, which led to now. 6 years later, I'm back in LA, I own a company, I'm back to writing another book, and now I'm married with two puppies. All of this because I failed. If things hadn't gone wrong, I'd still be living in my old apartment, thinking that I'd made it when I hadn't. If I hadn't been unable to pay my rent, then I wouldn't have moved to Arizona, and I never would have met the people who pushed me to try new ideas. If I hadn't been left with $23, I never would have been forced to face my fear of failure, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. Owning an internet company wasn't my goal. It wasn't my dream when I was 14 or on a farm in Texas, but being forced by failure to step outside my comfort zone led to the most profitable work I've ever had, and now I'm free to write books and make videos again about anything I want. And they can be 10 minutes long because I don't care anymore. If I never failed, I never would have picked myself back up again. Here are 5 things I learned from losing everything. Dreams are imaginary, and this is the real world. Don't let your imaginary dreams get in the way of your real life success. Dreams are fuel for the hard work and dedication that you need to succeed. If you aren't willing to take risks and fail and then get up again and adapt so you can take more risks, then you're wasting your dreams on a broken machine, just like I was. Learn to enjoy the pain of failure. The worse a failure hurts, the less likely you are to make that mistake again when the stakes are much higher. That's why it's smarter to gamble and lose and learn from it when you only have $100 than to gamble and lose when you have $1 million. When I make a mistake now, I hope it hurts really bad, so that I won't make that mistake again. Don't let yourself think that you've made it. Don't think that your first million gives you a pass to stop working. When you reach your goals, set new goals so you always have something to work for. And if you don't have a project to work on, invent a new project to keep you doing something. Sometimes the dream that you had isn't the dream that'll get you where you want to go. It might seem like taking a detour is giving up on the road to your dreams, but it might be the best path around the roadblock that you're facing. As long as you keep moving forward, every step is still one step closer to your goal. Whatever happens, don't ever think you failed too hard to make a comeback. This is how much money I had left in 2010. If you have this, and dreams, and dedication, and you're ready to work hard, then you can come back from anything too.